R.I.P. Rest in peace. To the world ego, rest in peace spiritually signifies a wish that a deceased person has found tranquility and eternal peace after death. The phrase rest in peace originates from the Latin requiescat, in pace, which translates to may one rest in peace. The world ego understands the term peace to mean the deceased is in heaven rather than hell, a place of no peace. The expression rest in peace is never used in scripture in connection with the person who had died. So in that sense, rest in peace is not expressly biblical. To the world ego, there are only two options for every human being. But in the same concept, it will be the soul that needs to rest in peace. This is ludicrous and a deep form of deception. Rest in peace is a state, the Christ consciousness. This reality is a state when one is completely at peace and free from worry or anxiety. Serenity and tranquility represents one who has gained a state of deep inner calm and acceptance while alive. The Christ consciousness is the true meaning of rest in peace. It doesn't make sense to rest in peace after death, where the world ego no longer exists. One may rest in peace only because of one's state of elevated consciousness. What good is all this suffering and shame while having a living experience only to no longer have existence, which ends that personality's conscious awareness? Death is the ultimate form of mind control. It is a pacifier for the infantile mental state. It is an ingrained idea implanted within religious beliefs to insert fear and compliance. The awakening is the annihilation of the real ego and the notion of a false self. It is the overcoming of the illusion. Once one understands the true meaning of the word oblivion only means forgetfulness. And what had been forgotten? Truth, soul, the only presence. A Course in Miracles teaches one that rest in peace is a blessing for the being alive experience, not the dead, because rest comes from waking, not from being unconscious. It is by keeping one within the mental maze of the subconscious that kept one gripped in fear and belief in death. A kind of death that can never happen because consciousness is eternal,
when we started making furniture,
holy,
we wanted to create
and the
pieces that would
realm
stand the
of
test of time,
ultimate
and it is that one
reality.
too.
Even while the personality is experiencing this physical realm of delusion. Awakening to the truth of soul, the only presence, The only thing that can happen to the world ego is annihilation. In this sense, it means the dissolution of the false reality, the false identity mindset. Annihilation is the first of the characteristics of the truth nature in complete openness and freedom. In that openness and freedom, there is no solidity, no content. In this openness and freedom, truth is so light that there is only inner stillness. Everything disappears into inner stillness. This is where stillness and peace are connected. Resting in peace. Annihilation doesn't mean something that ceases to be, but to be more accurate is to say that soul is the only presence, and seen in her truth nature is the truth meaning of peace on earth. The personality in full recline. The purgation and purification of the subconscious is the annihilation of duality, the world ego, and place of good and evil. The subconscious transcending nature and the actualizing of the Christ consciousness establishes this transposing of unreal giving way to truth. This is the blessing for one who is alive, the individual consciousness, receiving this state of bliss from the Christ consciousness. The world ego is the state of the subconscious, living from the sleep, unconscious state, sleepwalking, out there striving for wind, as Ecclesiastes puts it, motivated by a fear of dying to the memory of this illusory world by gaining some manner of illusory fame. The mental becomes exhausted in the process while striving for something, anything to be remembered by when the body withers and dies. This is why the reaper is feared so much. The world ego placed such belief that resting in peace belongs to death. Paradoxically, one can't believe peace is achieved until something meaningful is accomplishment in the world by the ego. But the ego, false self, has no reality. Therefore, the only accomplishment is the complete raising of consciousness to the Christ consciousness, the abode of soul. Then the individual consciousness finds the work accomplished and the personality enjoys the rest that is the promise. The world ego can show in countless ways death in this world, but so can video games and virtual reality, which are byproducts of the subconscious as well. This is why Jesus in John chapter 12, verses 24-25, tells of the necessity of a grain of wheat falling and dying to bring forth new and abundant life. This speaks about why one must embrace that moment of the death of the egoic identity, the moment one allows this egoic death to occur is when one is most fruitful. The death that does not exist is the world ego's insistent that there is a reality of death and tries to keep the subconscious asleep in this outer darkness of fear. This place where one cannot experience true peace due to its design of opposites. The Apostle Paul writes in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 22, 42, 45, and 55, and makes the argument way back then that the death the world ego says is real does not exist. He likens the ego to what is sown, which is perishable. But then he says what is raised is imperishable. What is sown is always asleep. In the outer darkness or the earth, that seed is asleep. What is raised, according to Greek word egerio, used in this passage, means awake. Paul is stating it is only in the subconscious sleepwalking is where the world ego can die, but once awakened is eternal. Death cannot or will not give peace. It is just another character among all the other characters of the world ego story. Once the subconscious is raised, the world ego is seen by the light of truth. The merger of the subconscious into the individual materialism consciousness is resurrection and allows the personality to be raised and awakened to the truth nature. Within the subconscious resided the higher possibility and potential that is already awake. This recognition ends the air of belief of the world ego as truth or reality. The return to the inner realm of purity through meditation and allowing conscious to delve deeply into the purity, free of objects, sounds, stimulants. Then one remembers the holy light of love that is the moment. Purity. This anchoring to truth is the rest, the present, the gift within the Christ consciousness, where the surrendering of burdens, cares, and worries represents the trust of and reliance on truth. Now the personalities rest in peace. The realm of ultimate reality's light, the individual consciousness, the reflection of the Christ consciousness, the abode of soul.
Sign up and get $23 off per month your first 3 months of YouTube TV and watch.
1 John 2:17. The world ego and all its desires will pass away, but the one who obeys truth and does what is to be done will reside forever. Hebrews 1:10-12. They, the world ego, will both one day disappear, but one will remain forever. Christ consciousness, the abode of soul. They, the world ego, will all fade like a worn-out garment, and it will be changed like clothes. 1 John 2:18. Dear children, the last hour is here. One has heard the Antichrist is coming, and already many such Antichrists have appeared.